Yes, brothers and sisters, we are finally back again for another reaction on this Mystelics reaction, guys. I actually dropped a reaction on the BrBpTV channel, so definitely go out there and check that link. That link will be in the first comment in the comment box below. So with that said, right there, guys, welcome to each and every one of you guys. I'm your boy Mystelics. Let's get into the vibrations for today, right there. Now, guys, this is an individual. He is actually in the hospital, I think the Grand Bay Hospital, and this is experience. We actually got to be talking about the Dominica China Friendship Hospital situation in a moment after this one. This is actually on Siri Exposing, so if you want to go check that link out, that'll be in the first comment in that'll be in the description below, so you guys can definitely check it out right there. Let's go.
At the Grand Bay Health Center, I got bread with a pot of boiling water. And I came to the center and they telling me that they can't do nothing for me. They have no medicine, no nothing. The only thing she could do is remove the skin. And I have to go and find medicine. The health center has nothing.
So the health center is telling you, that you need to go and find medicine. The health center is telling you that you need to go and find medicine. But apparently they forget that you're in the health center. It's not on the street you be. It's not in the man you be. The health center that is supposed to have the medication is telling you to go and find the medication. Okay.
They can't do nothing for me.
They can't do nothing for you.
Anyway, you know, ready? This is it. I wasn't coming there, but my sister told me, come. I come and I can't let service.
Best you didn't come? Best you didn't come at all? Because you come for medication to help you, and the medical place that you go to is telling you, not me that said that, you know, brothers and sisters. The man is saying that they tell him that he need to go and find medication. Let's you accept your homeboy. Okay, we're moving on to the next video.
I'm in common, I'm not an animal. That might be the last time you seen your baby come inside. So I went inside and I sit down there with him.
So this one is at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital.
Same cry, non-stop cry, same cry. When I went inside there are one drips on the left, one drips on the right. They put some by his neck to send down by his heart. I don't know whatever they put there. And then even in his head, he had drips. You understand? So I stay there with him. So one of the doctors come there, the female doctor. So I tell her, for the past almost 2 weeks, I get in problem to get the child medications for him. But the child had 2 visits back to back, and I did tell his doctor, the doctor that was checking him on Winston, what I did tell them, I'm not getting medication for the child is a problem.
So you tell the doctors that you're not getting medication for the little one. You told them that. Okay, great.
And she never give me no feedback.
So they never give you no feedback after you tell them you cannot get the medication. It's difficult for you to get the medication. Okay.
I was like, okay. Well, I tell her I was trying to get it, but I tell her I was getting problem to get it.
Okay.
So it's like I was on my own.
Okay, yes.
So
you go to the Dominica China Friendship Hospital to find medication. They tell you, they probably tell you the same thing like the man, go and get the medication. But you are indicating to them that you're having problem getting the medication. You tell them that. Okay.
Anyways, the doctor on Winston Ward, which is the female doctor, there were 2 doctors, a female and a male doctor. The female doctor telling me, if I know my baby was getting problem to get his medication, I should have tell that to them. So they would have given the baby the medication in drips, because they have it, but they have it in drips.
So you tell them you have problem getting the medication, and later on, they then telling you that they have the medication but in drips. I suspect they probably thought that you were lying. That's probably what they were thinking. But regardless of whether you're lying or not, if you have to pay for the medication in the hospital that they have in drips, then wouldn't they tell you, okay, you need to pay for this. We have this medication, but you have to pay for it. Because it's not like you saying that you were not able to get it. You were just having problems finding the medication, it seems. So they are telling you now that they have the medication, but in drips. Okay.
So I should tell them that so they can give it to him. But Saturday, that same child, I bring that child there Saturday. Last week, I bring that child there and all you send me back with him. I brought send me back with him.
So it was his Saturday. Okay.
When I see that child was about to die, I bring him back Tuesday that passed there. I brought him back. But since last week, I bring that child hospital and they sending me back with him, with all his pain.
And they had the medication. You told them that before. They never tell you nothing. They send you. So when you realize something is going wrong, really going wrong, you decide to bring the little one back. And then they're telling you, if you had tell them, even though you had told them, but maybe, I suspect it's a breakdown of communication right there. On one hand, probably somebody else received the information but did not pass it on. And then when you came back now, that person not getting the first news checking, but with a while you didn't tell us, you think? So as a result of that. But that's to tell you that there's incompetence happening in the hospital. Because if you came first and tell them, hey guys, my little one, I'm having problem getting the medication. And they probably there's people that you tell that don't even know that the medication is there. It's possible. But hey,
For them.
there is a state-of-the-art hospital, first world country, Dr. McIntyre Carbo. That is what we're talking about there. All right.
No, I had the child there.
This is this year back you. This year that happened.
After they send me back, I had the child there. And I cannot sleep because whole night my child bawling. Whole night he crying. Whole night he crying.
First of all, why did they let the little one go? Well, then again, I kind of, a thought process came to mind of something that actually happened. I remember an individual, well, I've heard of an individual that, well, actually went to the funeral of that individual. But from my understanding, the individual went to the hospital complaining about something that is wrong with them. They checked the individual and tell the individual, nothing seems to be wrong with you. And they send the individual home to go home. While the individual on their way home, they collapse and die. Well, so, I mean, that is, I guess, a culture in Dominica. Look, they sending your baby to go. They send your baby. You send your baby go even though they know the baby didn't receive the medication.
The child breathless. I bring the child casualty. The same night they send me back with him. And not even a little oxygen they give the child for me. They just tell me, like, my child have a condition. And I supposed to expect that. And it's like they send me home with a dead baby.
So they know your little one have a condition. And instead of addressing the condition by providing the medication that you asking or tell them, hey, I'm having problem getting the medication, they send you home. And they know that the little one has a condition. That is grounds to sue the hospital. My girl, if you're watching this video, sue the hospital. And sometimes I understand you might not have the monies and whatnot. You and the lawyer can work out something and say, okay, if we win and whatnot, you get half or 40% or whatever, and we get the rest. Split it half. Because if this situation doesn't stop, you know what's gonna happen? It's gonna continue. When you don't address these things, a number of things tend to happen. I remember a number of persons telling me, and individuals came down from overseas as well. Doctors and nurses came down Dominica to check on their family members in the hospital and cannot believe that that is the state that Dominica is going through in terms of healthcare. But then again, when you look at the flip side, brothers and sisters, sometimes it's not even the doctors and nurses' fault. Because they have been constantly asking for certain things and proper training and whatnot, and they're not getting it. They're not getting it. So obviously, if you constantly asking, and you're not getting no response, you're going to get fed up and frustrated. Because then you are the first line of individuals that the nurses and the doctors are the first line of individuals that the people are going to meet. If they're not getting the back end of equipment and stuff that they need, and you are the first line, they're going to be frustrated. Guys, we don't have this. We don't have this. Or probably they're fed up of telling people we don't have this. Yet still McIntyre will come on stage in Parliament and tell people that Dominica is the first world-class hospital. Foolish. Well, the first world-class, it's a hospital that can compare to the first world nations.
You understand me? So why you telling me I should have told you that when the doctor on Winston Ward, I informed them that the baby was getting problem to get his medication in Dominica, or you send me back home with it. And another doctor or nursery telling me I should have said that, they would have...
You see, I just said that, brothers and sisters. I just said that. It's a break in communication. The doctors probably didn't even know that there was the medication there. The other doctor probably know that there was a medication, but in drip form. And as a result of that, we have the situation that we are in today.
Give the baby the medication because they have it in drips form. You understand me? Now, all you taking, I brought the baby there since Tuesday night. The whole of Tuesday night, the baby suffering. Whole of Tuesday night, the baby suffering. Wednesday morning, all you taking the child and all you bringing him nursery and putting all kind of drips on top of the child. Even in his head, he had drips. And all you could have done that the Saturday before, or you could have done that the Tuesday before.
So it's like a whole week and some days then. Because if you say the Saturday before, that means not the Saturday that passed there. You're talking about the one before it. So that means a whole week pass and some days come. So if it's Saturday to Saturday, that's 7 days. Then you have till Tuesday, that's about 3 days. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 days. So that's 10 days. Okay.
You understand me? So now I tell the doctor, well, the doctor on Winston Water had no, my baby was missing the medication. They never tell me hospital had the medication to me. Dominica don't have the medication, so hospital don't have it. When as hospital had the medication, they could have given the child the medication for me. So I tell her to her, anyways, I sit down there, my baby bawling, he crying as usual, he crying. So I there trying to pet him,
Pet him?
So
or rub his belly?
I had to go Mao for something to come back. So every time I come to go out the door, it's like the child keep on crying.
Well, first of all, I mean, my girl, I think you're at fault for that particular, not the situation without. I think you're at fault there because you're talking about going to Mao, even though you know that your baby is constantly crying. You know what you could have done? Call somebody. Then again, sometimes you don't know who you can trust. But if there's a possibility that you could call somebody, call the baby daddy, Maguisa. Call the baby daddy and say, hey, I need to get this in Mao. Can you get it for me? Because you see that your little one is crying, constantly crying, knowing that there's an issue. But maybe she had a good reason to go there. Anyways, so, hey, I just think it was, could call somebody. But, hey, I'm not in your situation, my girl. So, Anyways, let's continue.
So every time I come back inside, he watching me in my eyes. When I go out the door again, he crying. So I say, okay, I'm going to put him to sleep. And when I put him to sleep, I will go. So I there kissing him for some reason. I kiss him plenty. I kiss him plenty that day. For some reason, I kiss him plenty that day. Because it's like something was just telling, no, something wasn't right. I there kissing him plenty that day. So in playing with him, in caressing him, he ended up falling asleep. So it had a little blanket on his forehead because in the thing they put him, it had like straight in his eyes. So I take the blanket and I rest it over his eyes. And I kiss him on his forehead and I tell him, Mommy going Mao to come back, eh? And I go. So
I'm guessing you're thinking that individual, if anything were to happen to that little one, you would have to bring him to the hospital. But you are already in the hospital, so if you get things are okay. Hey, if anything have to happen to that little one, he's already in the hospital. you okay? And so you decide to go to Maho. I would not leave the baby alone. No, probably check. Hey, my sister, my bro, or my mother, my father, whoever come through and, because I have to do, or call them, hey, can you check this in Mao? But like I said before, I don't know how serious that thing that you needed to get in Mao was. Maybe you wanted to go and get him money to see if you can pay for who I don't know. But,
Tell the doctor I go in Mao to come back. When I reach Mao, I sit down, but I was so exhausted because that child been going through a lot throughout the week, and it's like I feel like my child was neglected and he was rejected because it doesn't matter. Even though my child have a heart condition today, but they could help me. I feel they could help me, and I know they could help me.
Well, of course they could help you because one doctor told you that they don't have the medication. Apparently, don't even bother with you when you tell them that you cannot get the medication. The other doctor then comes and says a whole 10 days later, come in and tell you, hey, we had the medication. You should have tell us that you need it, and they could have give the medication for drips. So.
They neglected the child and they rejected the child.
So
that's how I watching it. So anyways, I leave hospital and I come down by my father. So I say, let me take a 5 before I go back hospital because I didn't sleep the night. I didn't even have an hour there, maybe half an hour after my phone ringing. The same male doctor in Winston was calling me and telling me, hey, good afternoon. This is so and so doctor. I just calling you to tell you your child had stopped beating. I just let you know your child had stopped beating. Just like that.
So the doctor is calling her and tell her, hey, I just called to let you know that your child had beat Huh? I just called to let you know the little one that you leave there and go mau, you know, that the child had stopped beat I just want you to know that. Alright? The child had stopped beat.
Just like that. I'm not an animal. I'm not an animal. People, that is not the way. That is not the way. That is not professionalism. You cannot
not.
do that.
Of course not.
You
But I
cannot-
guess the frustration maybe is the frustration. Everybody seems to be frustrated, but if you are in a profession, you are supposed to act professionally, regardless of the things that your very government, that individuals out there are voting for to put things on them. The people are responsible for this, brothers and sisters. The people who are not holding the government, hey, we don't have this. Why are we not having this? When they're spending very little money, they have budget for the money that's spending about 1%. I think it's 1.67%, guys. Actually reacted to that. The amount of money that they put in for the budget for the healthcare in Dominica. 1.76 or 1.67 around that region, brothers and sisters. For healthcare in Dominica in a $1 billion a budget. 1.67 or 1.76 or 1 point something percentage for healthcare in Dominica. Let that sink in. And then when these things happen, brothers and sisters, while the government is getting about 38% in the budget from a $1 billion, Office of the Prime Minister is getting 38%. Who do you think that they are doing things for? Are they doing things for the citizen, or are they doing things for themselves? 1.7, less than 2% of the budget goes to healthcare in Dominica. And you expect magic to happen, brothers and sisters?
do that. When I reach hospital, all drips had come out on my child already, and my child was already, he was warm still, but his 2 foot was hard already, his hands was hard already. And they have their paper in there and well ready. And my child was already, he was warm still, but he's well ready. Imagine, they take a blood test for the child on Wednesday.
The question I want to ask here is, when the other doctor, after the 10 days, from the first doctor to the second doctor, and they told you that they have the medication in drips, did they administer it? That's a question I was thinking of. Did they administer it?
Blood test for the child. I brought the child there. I brought that same child there on Wednesday. And they do a blood test for me at the casualty. And they tell me his blood was okay, his pressure was okay, his sugar was okay. And Wednesday morning.
But they know he had a heart condition, and the child was crying, and all kind of things was taking place with the child. Therefore, there was something going on. Yet, still everything is okay, so they let the child go.
You telling me on Wednesday morning, a doctor watching me and telling me they do a blood test for my child and telling me my child had a little infection in his blood.
So the question here is, I want to ask, based on what you're saying, so if they did the first blood test and apparently everything was okay, and they did the next blood test and they're telling you, well, when you went, the question is, where did the infection come from? Did it come from outside or inside the hospital?
And telling me my child had a little infection in his sugar was okay. And Wednesday morning, you telling me on Wednesday morning, a doctor watching me and telling me they do a blood test for my child and telling me my child had a little infection in his blood.
Well, so probably the same thing, but they told you initially that everything was okay, and then they came back and tell you that there's something wrong. They tell you there's an infection. Is it the same blood test, or they did multiple blood tests? That's an interesting one right there.
An infection, okay. So, the first time I bring him casualty, they wanted to take blood for him. The first time I bring him casualty, up to now, I go back home and that blood test never take.
So they never take the first one?
So supposing he had the infection since that time.
That's a good question right there.
And
so that means there's a neglect. My girl, you have complete right to sue the hospital, you know. Complete right to sue the hospital. Like I said before, a number of things that was escaping, and the hospital doesn't really care. But like I said before, they are frustrated. But you need to sue the hospital for what they cause. Because first of all, I can see a number of things. One, they didn't do the blood test when they were supposed to do the blood test, telling you your child, have an issue. They didn't do the blood test one. they didn't administer the medication, even though the medication was there. That doctor should have gone and find out if the medication was actually there before they said no medication or they didn't respond to you apparently in that regard. And the next one is, when the second doctor told you that the medication was there, did they administer it? Did they administer it? They waited a whole 10 days after to come and tell you about infection after they take the blood test. The blood test is another one too. They take the blood test, they tell you everything is okay. Then later on the Wednesday, they come in and tell you, oh, you know, there's an infection. Really? So that means 10 days pass from the very beginning, because you talk about Saturday to Tuesday. So 10 days pass. They didn't do the blood test this time. They do the blood test the second time. They told you that everything is okay. And then the Wednesday, they come in and telling you, oh, there's an infection. Really?
And to make me believe like it's because he didn't have the medication, he died.
Well, there's a huge possibility that is. If the medication was the one keeping that little one alive because of his condition, most likely as a result of what the first doctor telling you or not telling you, and then the second doctor telling you this, that there's actually medication there. And as a result of that span of time within when the second doctor told you that the medication was actually in drip form, and when the little one passed away, that should tell you something. It's the hospital's fault.
I cannot drink that. I need somebody to tell me something.
Yeah, my girl, if you're watching this, anyways, guys, I'll post this thing in the description below so you guys can check it out uninterrupted. But on the basis of this reaction, brothers and sisters, if you are watching this video, you need to sue the hospital, okay? You will win. That is a clear win. That's a clear win. And they need to have track records of that too. So you need, you lawyer up, my girl, lawyer up, because your baby is gone now. That baby can never come back. Never come back. As a result of neglect. That sounds like neglect to me. What are your thoughts, guys? Maybe it's me that wrong. Anyways, guys, check out the BrBpTV reaction I did on the you might want to definitely check that out. That link will be in the first comment in the comment box below. And definitely, guys, it's interesting when you look at what people are experiencing versus what the ministers them are saying. They say the economy is nice, oh, the best destination, whatnot, blah blah blah. When tourism are going to other places, what is the best destination there when tourists are going? Dominica trying to get 2030, I think they're trying to get 500,000 or 2050, whichever it is. They're trying to get 500,000 tourists to come in per year. And other countries are Gasa. Let me leave that. Anyways, guys. Now, let me know your thoughts right there. Leave your thoughts in the comment box below. And of course, I'll read every comment. I want to see what you guys have to say. This is just my thoughts, guys. What are your thoughts? Like I said before, leave your thoughts in the comment box below, guys. And I'll see you guys in the next reaction video. Remember, guys, be real. Be positive.